Good afternoon, everybody. I am finally going to do the kitchen tour. Is it perfect? No. Is it dusty? Probably. But I figure if I don't go on and get it done, it'll never get done. So I'm going to just show it to you like it is. And I hope you enjoy seeing all of our goodies. The Grinch goodies, the Ray Dunn goodies, the Johanna Parker, and all the vintage goodies. So I'm not going to talk about everything, and if you have a question, you can ask me in the comments. So we'll start over here where I always start. I have a few blooms on my Christmas cactus. I repotted it this summer, so sometimes when you do that, it stresses the roots and you don't get as many blooms. But I've already had 5 or 6, and I still have a few more buds, so that's a good thing. There's one of our little vintage Santa pieces hanging above the little flower pot. And y'all saw all of the wonderful Grinch pieces in this cupboard. But I have to go over here and show you an early Christmas present we got from Vicky and Duke. Y'all know Vicky and Duke because y'all been to their house. Look at that wonderful Department 56 Possible Dreams Grinch. Isn't he wonderful? And he was perfect up there on the top. And I just love this shelf, the way it turned out. And especially right here. Everything else is the same as when I did the video on just that cupboard. But up here you can see the new piece. Just wonderful. And then on the table, more Grinchiness. There's those beads a friend made. An arrangement in the Merry Christmas. And another little Grinchy tree that our friend gave John for Christmas. Last year or year before, I can't remember. I can't keep up with it anymore. And then on the 2-tier tray, it's totally different from last year. I do have one of my vintage McCoy pots with one of my plants I rooted. And there's a sweet vintage piece holding the stocking. And of course more of his Grinchiness with some of my old silver spoons in it. And down there's that little mischievous angel peeping out with more Grinchiness. Back there is the 2-tier stand with even more Grinch pieces on it. And hanging on a cupboard there is that sweet little Grinch piece that one of my subscribers and friends, Nancy, sent to us. And there's the Grinch's hand still in a ball. And more of my plants I had to bring in. I put one of them down in a copper pot. And of course you can see the Anna Lee tree. And in the window, of course, are some of my little vintage tiny Santa mugs. These are so sweet. Lots of cute ones. Gingerbread, little chef elves, and Santa Clauses. And there's a close look at the vintage Santa mugs. And under here, there's some of those beautiful Christmas balls that I showed you in my vintage green bowl. More vintage goodies down there. And of course, more Grinchiness. And that wonderful gingerbread sign that came from Cracker Barrel 2 years ago, I believe. And over here is kind of the gingerbread section. Well, there's gingerbreads kind of all over the room, but this is where a big part of them are. Let me get back over here so you can see it. This is on the buffet. And of course, there's John's favorite print with the light up truck and trees and barn. And lots of little gingerbread pieces. One of my vintage cookie cutters are in there. And that green handled rolling pin that we got at a sale this summer. And there's where I put the gingerbread salt and pepper and the butter. And in the cabinet, there's some of that green spongeware that we found this year. I put some Christmas balls in the bowl. And I meant to put something in the baking dish, but you know how that goes. Never enough time. And a friend got me this gingerbread tree this year, and I think it is just awesome. And there's the blue sky gingerbread house. And one of my favorite scales that our son gave us quite a few years ago, and one of my vintage Santas that we got at yard sale this summer. And another little gingerbread man that is Anna Lee. And another Santa Baker. And there's those wonderful Santa mugs. And this Santa's making a gingerbread house. He's icing it up right now. I think he has an awesome face. And then over here is a lot of the Johanna Parker. I'm trying to back up and keep from hitting that bench that I usually do when I'm doing this. Down there's a jar with some of those wonderful Christmas balls in it. And my copper kettle and a book I made. More of the rolling pins. And up here, that sweet little Anna Lee reindeer. And there's where I put 2 of the cookie cutters. I'll go all the way up and then I'll come back down. Up on the top is a jar of vintage cookie cutters. On this shelf, the Johanna Parker along with a little sweet vintage Noel. And I put my vintage marmalade jars there with the reindeers because the colors were just perfect. And one of the sweet little figures under the cloche. More of the vintage and Johanna Parker. And in the back there is the Lori Mitchell reindeer. And this sweet little vintage snowman. And more Johanna Parker. And then, of course, y'all saw this cupboard in a separate video. I have really enjoyed, and I probably said that before, having those green bowls out. And my 4 thermoses that I'm so proud of. We'll do the living room probably tomorrow. Here's another one of John's little Grinchy trees. And I just put it in a vintage bucket. And there's that bowl of those beautiful old ornaments. And of course this cupboard has my bee items in it. There's that wonderful snow cone machine. Here's a Maxwell House coffee jar with vintage balls in it. And this is the kitchen tree. It's got all kinds of kitchen items and gingerbread pieces. And back there's the cookie jar we got at Goodwill. And one of our big old spice tins. I love this little tree though, with all these little sweet ornaments. Little miniature cooking utensils. John's Grinch rug. And sweet towels. We'll get back so you can see the top shelf. Everything up there is vintage. And the second shelf, all the Santas are vintage. You saw those when I did a video on some of our vintage. And there's the little ironstone tureen that we found and the platter at Goodwill. And there's some of those Santas still in a jar, and some of the Johanna Parker penguin pieces. And there's that little snowman cup, and it is a left-on. We got that at a yard sale this summer, and they're sitting on more of the ironstone plates. And there's the winking Santas, which I just love those, and more of the penguins. And of course another Grinch. There's a Gingerbread street sign and some more of John's Grinch signs. And up there is the Cocoa Bar sign. Lots of John's Grinch mugs are right here. I don't know whether y'all heard John. He shut up in a bedroom back there. He started coughing a couple days ago. So we did an at-home COVID test today, and it was positive. So I called our doctor, and he gave him some COVID medication. And I went to the drugstore to get it, and there wasn't a parking place in the parking lot except one place. I managed to get a parking place. And there were probably 20 or more people waiting to get prescriptions at the drugstore. So people are getting sick. So please, everybody, be careful. Get your vaccines if you haven't already, your flu vaccine and your COVID boosters, because it's no joke. You can still get this stuff. And for all of y'all that are praying people, please say a prayer for John that this medicine does the trick and he doesn't end up having to go to the hospital or anything. So, he's still got an appetite. He doesn't have a temperature, just coughing and got a sore throat and just feels, real draggy. So, I'm going to take good care of him, and that's why I'm running behind on doing this video. But I love this little corner, the hot cocoa corner. And I'll open these doors so you can see up here. Up here is Polish stoneware Christmas pieces. Even have a cow creamer. And up there's that little sugar bowl that we got at Goodwill. Terremoto pieces in here with Polish stoneware and some Dunn. And you can hear the creaking floors too. And some various mugs on that shelf. The peppermint wreaths are still up there. I use those there every year because they're perfect for there. And y'all know these little planters and these little angels, They're some of our very favorites. And the vintage hankies. And y'all saw the Santa cups in the picture. I love her. I think she's so elegant looking. And of course, even Grinch hand soap. And there's that snowman you remember my friend gave me. And there's John's stacking mugs. And let me open this cabinet. Up here is lots more Grinch pieces. And John is just happy as he can be with all his Grinch items. Some of my vintage creamers there. Up here on top, that is Johanna Parker on the left, the sugar and creamer, and Ray Dunn, and a Believe sign. And let me show you up here. This is the only new sign we bought this year, and we did get it on sale. I think it was like at Hamrick's, it was $59, and it was some special buy. Anyway, we ended up only paying $13 for it. So I was happy about that. And in this corner is Grinch spatulas and a plant piece I'm rooting. And those sweet little Johanna Parker candy jars or canisters. And another Grinch piece behind it. So this is all of the kitchen tour. And as I said, please remember us in your prayers. Pray that I don't get it so that I can take care of John and keep up with his meds and all. We love y'all all so much, and we appreciate you. And we have really enjoyed sharing so much of our vintage Christmas with y'all this year. Love and blessings from me and John and baby boy, and we'll see you soon. Till the next time.